We have new insight into the day Miya Marcano went missing. The Orange County Sheriff's Office released the initial report from the night she disappeared. The report says the last person to hear from Miya was a friend after she had clocked out at the apartment complex where she also worked. She told the friend she was on the way to the airport. Her family called police a short time later, saying it was out of character for Miya not to reply to their texts or calls, especially when she had to catch a flight. Authorities did a wellness check, but Miya was nowhere to be found. About 1 week later, search crews found her body. Since the murder of Miya Marcano, many questions have been raised about your safety and security, even behind locked doors. The man suspected of killing Miya, Armando Caballero, worked at the complex and had a key fob that opened every unit in the apartment complex. 10 Investigates Courtney Robinson takes a deeper dive into how someone gets that type of access and what it means for your safety.
She's the forefront of what we're doing.
Julia Veiga met Miya Marcano briefly, didn't get the chance to know the young woman who also lived and worked in her apartment complex near the University of Central Florida.
And we just don't think that this should happen to anyone ever again.
On September 24th, Miya Marcano disappeared. Her body was found 8 days after she was last seen alive, her hands and feet bound, her mouth covered in black duct tape. The Orange County Sheriff's Office has pointed to 27-year-old Armando Manuel Caballero, a maintenance worker.
We now know that a maintenance-issued master key fob, which Caballero was known to be in possession of, was used to enter Miya's apartment Friday afternoon.
A key fob, similar to the one Julia Veiga uses to get into her own apartment, but this key gave Caballero access not just to Marcano's apartment, but every single home in the complex. Arden Villas has said he passed a background check, posting on Instagram there were no charges of burglary or sexual assault. 10 Investigates discovered Caballero was a convicted felon, convicted in Polk County in 2016 of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. We tried repeatedly to contact Arden Villas and the company that owns it to ask if they knew, but got no response.
You kind of hope that the people that you have signed this lease to, that have this unspoken agreement, that they're hiring who they think they're hiring.
10 Investigates found in the state of Florida, landlords are not required by law to background check employees. We reviewed the lease between tenants and Arden Villas. The owner points out it's, quote, under no obligation to residents to provide any security measure or take any action not required by statute. It doesn't address background checks of employees, only residents, stating, quote, background checks are limited to the information actually reviewed and are not a guarantee that a person with a criminal background does not reside at the residential community. State Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith represents the district where Miya Marcano lived.
And there's certainly changes that we can make in the law to require more thorough vetting of these types of workers who have access to people's apartments.
But over the years, there have been failed attempts to make those changes. In 2008, legislation was introduced to not only mandate landlords background check these employees, but also get consent from tenants before anyone with a criminal history enters their homes. And in 2018, lawmakers proposed the Tenant Notification Act, requiring landlords to tell tenants whether they background check employees and let them know when a worker has been convicted of credit card theft, violence, or sexual battery.
These are important people who have unfettered access into their apartment units. And we need to know that they can be trusted. We need to know that these are workers that don't have this type of criminal history.
Residents who live in Arden Villas, many young, college-age kids, feel that they could be Miya Marcano. They're concerned for themselves and others across the state, realizing a locked door means nothing when a complete stranger can come in with a master key.
We give them full freedom to our apartments, essentially, when and ourselves, when we just hand the keys to anyone.
Representative Smith says he has not yet spoken with Miya Marcano's family, but plans to do so, as well as work with his colleagues in Tallahassee to make changes. In the meantime, people who live at Arden Villas say the apartment complex has made some adjustments.